Yeah. Okay. So this is the part where Poyoraz and I do the overviews of our deck together because we're besties. So this is the deck that I'm bringing to Future Visions. I guess I may as well put the ban list to BS in format. The card that I'm bringing is Doom King Balerdrock, and I'm playing, for the most part, a pretty standard zombie list. You can see it's got 3 Pyramid Turtle.
Zombies must be a day that ends in Y.
Yeah. Admittedly, I will play zombies anytime that I can. I was thinking of doing a different list that I'm planning to cover at some point, but I ended up settling on this list because it gets to play a lot of just really good Edison and has some very funky interactions. So obviously you get to play normal like zombies with Pyramid Turtle, Sangan, Zombie Master Goblin, Zombie Mizuki, Plagues, Book of Life. But obviously we're running 3 Terraforming, 3 Zombie World because, well, we want to be able to bring back Bale, which we're usually bringing out by sending it from the deck with Armanite or by summoning it from the deck with Pyramid Turtle. I'm not running Giant Rat in this deck, which was a consideration because that's one too many battle floaters, and most of the negation that people are bringing into the format is activation negation, so I'm not really keen on running too many battle floaters. I feel like 3 is already quite a bit, but I feel like Pyramid Turtle is a fine one, especially considering a lot of the times you can run it into something, because 1200 is frankly pitiful attack. Now in terms of the tech cards, there really isn't much to say. So Book of Eclipse is obviously being run here as a 2-of because the deck has a natural out to Dragoon and any non-targeting card with the non-targeting banish that is Balerdrock. But the thing is, you have to be able to draw out the negate off Dragoon, so a lot of the times the best thing to do that would be to just activate Book of Eclipse and, well, either their guy gets set and you run it over, or it has to use the negate and you Bale banish it. And for the trap lineup, it's double bottomless, 1D prison with 2 more in the side, Legacy of Yatagarasu, Mirror Force, double Phoenix Swing Blast, Solemn Judgment, Starlight Road, Torrential Tribute, and Trap Dashut. The most, I guess, important cards here are Starlight Road and Legacy of Yatagarasu, because they heavily disincentivize my opponent from using mass back row wipes, like, well, really mostly just Heavy Storm, if Zombie World ever hits the field, which is kind of the biggest fear, but it also works sort of counterproductive because a good way to draw out back row removal that the opponent might have would be to set quite a few things before you actually commit Zombie World onto the field. Now, obviously the star of the show is in some ways Balerdrock, but the real winner a lot of the times is Zombie World, because in this format, Zombie World is kind of extremely good, because a lot of the cards that people are bringing from the future rely on certain types. For example,
there's so many tribal cards being played.
Yeah.
Like, okay. No, like, so if you want to add a support to Blackwings, yes, you can add something from in archetype, but one of the best additions in Blackwings that we found was Shuraig, and this card just stops you from being imagining to go into Shuraig. Another deck that plays like really consistently into its cards is, you know, Frogs. You can't make totally awesome under Zombie World. The tributing effect actually matters a lot because like there's a lot of good tribute summons later in the fucking format.
Link Rainbow Monarch just becomes completely obsolete, and any deck that's trying to turbo out Jinza, which I've seen at least 2, just cannot summon him. And also one deck that I feel is definitely one to be watched out for in this tournament is Fairies, specifically Ava Fairies, and Zombie World, if it manages to hit the field against Herald of Greenlight, does mean that Ava and Christia just don't work. like, and thankfully this deck also has enough outs to, if Krisha or Tethys manage to hit the board, they can be put off the board. And I think that is it for the main deck. MSD is there just because it's a good one for one card if I want to set it cool. Deep Prison is still there to have 2 battle tricks that my opponent has to watch out for that are both pretty fucking impactful. Trap Dust Shoot is kind of necessary to run. I'm not running Royal Oppression because fucking obviously. One thing I was... so there are a few considerations that I didn't end up putting in. I was thinking of putting in the Demise of the Land, but I think as of right now, I don't really consider it to be needed. There are definitely some matchups where just putting Zombie World on the field is enough to win the game, and in those matchups I think maybe putting it in the side would be good, but I think the side is a bit too tight for now. And another card I want to put in is maybe more copies of Legacy, just to even more disincentivize the opponent from using back row board wipes, and also to help me deck thin to find more advantage cards and to find more specific outs that I may have sided in. In terms of the side deck, there's double side draw because getting rid of an opponent's machine board is really strong, and in some matchups it's just a simple beater when I think that just beating over my opponent's guys is good. Triple DD Crow because, oh my god, the amount of decks in this format that die to Crow is insane. It makes me want to main deck the card. It is a thing that I'm genuinely thinking of doing, taking some of the traps from the main, putting them in the side, putting in DD Crow instead. Because it is insane. I'm sorry. People have been touting like Salt Mode as an optional deck. You can just either banish a Salt Beast to stop them from even summoning a Synchro, or you can banish the Stardust Dragon Assault mode just because you can. Like we mentioned, fairies are a strong deck, and you can banish any Christian target if you want to. Toad is a strong deck, and you can banish their Fishborg. Like, there are so many uses for this deck. Linkuriboh Monarch, you banish the Linkuriboh.
You can also just like okay, a lot of people, because one of the biggest problems in Future Visions is that, especially in like decks like Frogs, sometimes you just run out of stuff in your deck because of how like early it is. There's not much redundancy, and with the power of like, you know, the extra deck, some people are actually considering, which in my opinion is just cope, playing Pot of Avarice.
Yeah.
And if you ever played Edison and got your Pot of Avarice targets DD crowed, you know that makes you want to fucking put your head through a wood chopper.
Yeah, the fact that you can just DD Crow any one target and all of a sudden the Avarice just completely blanks is one of the reasons that I'm still like considering putting in DD Crow into the main, because that is a play that just would make any Frog player just spontaneously combust. But yes, the next is DD Warrior Lady. It's another non-targeting, non-destruction removal to try and bait out a negate if necessary before Bale gets to do his thing. Volcanic Queen, because sometimes the opponent just puts a completely unaffected towers. Something like a 5-headed Link Dragon I do consider to be one of the best payoffs that you can be playing right now, just because it's so incredibly hard to out. It's unoutable by battle with most things. The only real way to out it is Honest and Volcanic Queen. And yeah, I'm at least gonna be running the Volcanic Queen because I don't think that my deck can really use Honest. Book of Eclipse as a third in the side deck, just because. So okay, obviously I'm running a lot of outs to specifically Dragoon in here. I've got triple Eclipse, double Bale, double DD Warrior Lady, and triple Volcanic Queen. Usually I am definitely putting in too many eggs into this one deck's basket, but the issue with Dragoon is that it kills too fast and you need to get your pieces very early. I can't make them stall because all of my traps that would usually be biding me time just don't work against the deck, so I am really kind of in a spot where I need to be making sure that I have a lot of outs and that I at least get to 2 before they manage to burn me for 10 billion kill from that. Heavy Storm in the side for back row heavy decks. Rota in the side as a search for both DD Warrior Lady and Armanite. It just becomes very versatile if I ever side in DD Warrior Lady, so I like to keep it in there. And 2 more Dimensional Prison because it is a pretty nice out. It's targeting, but it is still non-destruction removal, and some decks do kind of fumble to it. In fact, my deck kind of fumbles to it, because if I deprison a Baylor Drock, then all of a sudden, whoop-de-fucking-do, that boy isn't getting back unless I have a Burial from a different dimension. If I make the edit of anything, either putting in Demise of the Land into the deck or putting DD Crows into the main, I will put a screenshot of my current deck on the screen right now, and I think that's about it for my deck. The extra deck is pretty standard zombie stuff. There's nothing you can really do with Bale. There are no good high level synchros that you can be running, so it's just the standard zombie list. I'm not putting in the like Hades. I'm not putting in that one because I don't really feel like I'm that worried about battle floater effects going off. I can put him in place of one of the 3 Stardusts, but I really don't care, man. I don't know. I don't think that Revival King Hades is that big of a necessity in the format. I feel like Doomkaiser is very good. I have already used him, like, I think twice, because when Zombie World is out, it turns this deck into an OTK machine where any body plus Doomkaiser plus Zombie World just ends up being at least 6k damage. And I think that covers everything in my deck. I guess I didn't talk about some of the more good synergies, but Book of Life now has a really big body to recover. Pyramid Turtle has Vampire Lord too. Bryanak can pitch Baylor Drock if you ever are in that situation. Goblin Zombie can search Baylor Drock. Tough shit. And yeah, I think with that, I shall pass it over to Poyoraz and open up his deck list. Okay, so I decided that I'm at least going to put in a short segment about why I ended up making the additional edits that I did. So I ended up putting in the DD Crows in the main inside out Yata because it is meant to be set in at the same time as Heavy Storm under ideal scenarios, and it isn't a hugely important card for the deck as I may have made it sound in the first part. I set out Mirror Force because it is much more situational in this format than Crow is, given that Mirror Force itself is a form of mass destruction removal and a form of mass destruction removal that people are going to be avoiding. But also it is a format where people don't commit that many bodies on the board before attacking, so whoop-de-doo. I set it out 1 Wind Blast because I already have good access to Bryanak if I want to be bouncing stuff and discarding cards. And I still have 1 copy of Wind Blast in the main, so that I still have some spell speed to removal. The reason I want to put Crow in the main is because, again, it covers so many decks, but it specifically covers matchups where I'm scared to go second game 1, and those matchups are harder to win a best of 3 in if I'm only relying on drawing Crow in game 3 and not having any chance to draw at game 1, basically gambling that my opponent will not have combo in one of the 3 games. So effectively it was the math of, okay, I need Crow in matchups where my opponent is doing an FTK or pseudo FTK in game 1, but I don't need these traps game 1 in matchups where I'm just playing honest Yu-Gi-Oh. And the decks that it covers are the ones that I tend to insta-win if I activate Zombie World, so it might seem suboptimal, and it is viable to side out in game 2 and 3 if the situation calls for it, in which case I would probably side in Demise of the Land, which I put into the side in place of Cyber Dragons. And the reasoning for that is, well, as I said, there are a few matchups where it just insta-wins me. One matchup that I didn't even mention is Machines. A lot of, like, specifically Citadel and Ruin Force, which is a hindsight thing. I wasn't expecting Ruin Force to be as prevalent as it was. Both lose to Zombie World being on the field, and both have to play into Demise of the Land, so having these extra 2 copies of Zombie World instead of Cyber Dragon, which itself gets turned off if Zombie World's on the field, and itself doesn't tackle the recursion that these decks have, which is the scary part of Machines in this format. It's not that they put up a bunch of guys on the board, is the guys that they put up on the board come back again and again and again, which Cyber Dragon doesn't tackle, but Zombie World does, because it stops them from being machines, so Ruin Force can't come back, Citadel can't come back. Of course, it still dies to Fortress just running into something, but neither here nor there. Okay, that's about it for this segment. I'm gonna get to the part where Poyoraz talks about his deck now. Thank you.
Now, before I start off my deck list, I want to talk about, I am playing Primite Hero Beat. And let me explain why I landed on the deck I did. So I regularly play Edison. Edison is one of my favorite formats, and in Edison I play Vayu because it's the best deck. Because in Edison the strongest single card is Royal Oppression, and I want to be able to not care about Royal Oppression. In normal Edison, you can do this because, Vayu, just as a deck with how it works, can put big bodies on the field even when Oppression is on the field. Another deck I really like normally is Diva Heroes for this exact reason. When I first started, I just started looking at good tribute summons that came out since, because in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! For a tribute summon to even, not even playable, to be printable, it needs to do something crazy. And the 3 things I was thinking about landing on was, I wanted to play a deck based on Simorgh of Darkness, but that deck folds too quickly to specifically Zombie World, and also it has some inconsistencies within itself as well. I wanted to try out the Flu Continuous spell, but there isn't a single... Well, there are some good level 7 or higher winged beats in Edison, but none of them were really worth building a deck around. Then I found Primite Imperial Dragon, and I was like, wow, this effect is kinda nuts. I first tried to put it in a deck where with normal monsters, but the normal monster support in Edison is actually quite lackluster. Then I said, oh wait, this just checks for normal monsters in Grave, I can play Geminis. And as I said, Hero Beat is one of my favorite decks, so I landed on playing a version of Hero Beat that doesn't even play the Diva stuff, that is completely focused on just keeping a high tempo and making the most out of Primate Imperial Dragon. So as you can see, the Geminis I'm playing 3 copies of Neos Alius. Neos Alius is a really good card. 19 is a really good stat line for a monster. It's a light warrior, so you it hits Goyo, it hits just a lot of light monsters in Lightsworn and stuff, because Lightsworn, in my opinion, is one of the better decks. Oh yeah, let me talk about what I think are the best decks in this format. Dragoon is going to be played a lot just because of the Farfa effect, and I don't mean the card effect Farfa. I'm talking the fact that Farfa played it in the video. A lot of people are going to be playing Machines. A lot of people are going to be absolutely playing Fairies. This format, the tournament that we're playing, is not going to have it's just gonna be Swiss. We're not even gonna have like the top cut, so it's not so much of like a matter of what the best decks are. It's mostly just like what I think the people are gonna play the most. But I also need to care about like the best deck because of the last match. But I think like fairies and fairies frogs are the best decks of this format. Dragoon is a really good and probably the most represented deck of the format. And also Link God Dragon is a really big deck of the format as well. So I try to put my normal monsters in that regard. Like I am playing Neos Alius because you gotta, but it also hits light, so it hits fairies and lightsworn and warriors. Hits a lot of the staples in this format. I'm playing the monster to its left, the Dark Valkyria, because it's a dark and it's also a fairy. If I could, I would have played a dark winged beast here, but there doesn't exist any dark winged beast like normal monsters or Gemini monsters in this format. And also to play a secondary water target for future fusion, I play Gemini Lancer, which hits frogs overall. Then I play Gale for synchro access. It's a really good synchro access. I was saying I'm only gonna play one tuner in the original version of my deck. I didn't play any tuners, but that locks you out of playing a lot of good cards. Armor Master is actually a Dragoon out, which is really cool. In 2 turns, but hey, Black Rose, wiping a field sometimes is really good, especially since I don't have any cards that like I don't need to stay on the field. And Ancient Fairy Dragon is a big booty that pops field spells that also just like allows me to put a Gemini monster on the field if I have one stuck in my hand. Other than that, I play Ryo. It's just a really good towers. Like the goal of my deck is I want to play as low to the ground as possible. I don't want a special summon. I just want to play like I want every single one of my cards that I stuck on the field to have immediate impact on the game. Stratos is like a really good one, and you have to play the elemental hero. What's the water elemental hero's name? I forgot.
Oh, Ocean Man?
Yeah, elemental hero Ocean Man. Yeah, take me by the hand. You play it just because it's a water. And Future Fusion is actually a really interesting card in this deck because aside from just, sending the materials to summon your Absolute Zero, you can also reveal Gaia and send Primite Dragon to the grave, which then you can recover with Reincarnation. Reincarnation is such a good card in this deck because, like, one of the biggest problems with this deck is sometimes you just run out of monsters or, like, you just, like, don't get any monsters. Reincarnation, aside from being able to recover the good stuff, like your Stratoses and your Honests and your Gale, and if you're cheating, your Warrior Lady, because one time I forgot to banish it and send it to the grave instead, is a really good card. And I would even consider playing this in normal Edison in Hero Beat. Aside from that, Miracle Fusion is a really good card. It just allows you to end games really quickly. Absolute Zero is still a beast. In Edison, it even triggers if it's sent back to the extra deck, so there isn't like a good way to not trigger this card. I play some back row removal because I still imagine back rows is still going to be good. I play Royal Oppression because like I don't care about this card. The only card something that we learned is you can only Royal Oppression the initial activation of Future Fusion. If Future Fusion is already on the field, you can't negate the summon of the Absolute Zero,
Because
which
rules.
is stupid.
Because rules, I love rules.
Yeah. Other than that, in my side deck, I am playing 2 copies of Cyber Dragon. Machines are like there's a lot of machine cards that you can play. Actually, like something that we found, so Ancient Gear Dark Golem is a card that adds 2 cards from your deck to your hand, which allows you to use Ancient Gear Drill to search any 2 spells in the game, or you can search 2 more Gear Towns to put like 2 to 3 of 2 to 3,000 monsters on the field. There's still a lot of really good machine decks in the format, so Cyber Dragon is kind of a must play. I'm playing DD Crow for the same reasons. There's a lot of cards that lose to it. Now, one thing that we don't have the 2020 rule revisions. So if your like opponent discards an Ava with the Heralds, and then you chainlink to DD Crow, banish the Ava, the Ava still triggers. So that makes DD Crow considerably weaker. But again, like even just playing this deck against a deck that plays Avarice is still good enough. Fossil Pelecephalo, it's just a really good normal summon to stick on the field. You can even just like play it as like a board breaking tool because the flip effect is still really good. Volcanic Queen, you have to play because a lot of people are going to be playing Towers cards in this format, from Link God Dragon to Dragoon. This is the cleanest out to them. The normal summon restriction hurts me specifically a lot, but it's still worth playing. Then the extra dimensional presence. I play this card mostly against decks that like don't get really hit hard by the bottomless. It's an incredible tempo card. It just like stops a lot of the flooding effects. Like the name of this deck is Tempo, and then the skill drain is once again a Dragoon out. Because Dragoon, you have like no way to summon a Dragoon, inherently. You can always chain this card to their fusion spell, and when Dragoon comes onto the board, it will just not have its effects. And at that point, you're just trying to out a Blue Eyes White Dragon, and this deck is actually really good at outing the Blue Eyes White Dragon because Gemini Spark is the best card ever created. Other than that, some silly stuff that you can do with this deck is you can actually stop the Dragoon from getting its attack boost like really easily by just tributing cards off. And also Honest, being able to play Honest is so good in Future Vision specifically because Honest just outs everything. Even Link God Dragon looks like it has complete battle immunity, but no, it has battle immunity against everything but Light Monsters. So thank you, Konami, for printing a card, keeping the sanctity of Future Visions Edison this hard. Other than that, one card that I guess can explain is I'm playing Golems in the extra deck because you can make it with Gale plus Primite, Imperial Dragon. I'm just playing because I think it's kind of funny. It's a 31 body. It's kind of like a 31 body is really funny because it outs everything else in the format.
And if you feel like it, you contribute it for a single hand rip.
Yup. Other than that, I just wanted to speak a bit more about Primite Imperial Dragon. I think this card is really good because it allows you to kill like no one's business. You don't like the second effect, the banish all monsters in your opponent controls. Sometimes I would even call it an extra effect. I think the better effect is negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls.
Permanently.
Like a blanket permanent negate. Especially in a format where a lot of people are just relying on just leaving good monsters on the board is so good. And if I could find a way, I would try to play a monster that allows me to chain block this effect, but sadly there isn't that good of a target. It's pseudo searchable. You can search it with Future Fusion. But just even having it in your hand, once your opponent knows of its existence, just plays the way your opponent plays the game. It changes the way your opponent plays the game. And that's basically it. That's the extent of my deck. I want to play a deck with good. I still, a lot of people play decks that are ass in Edison, but has one card that makes them good. And I think that's not the way to play this format. I think you still need a really good shell because sometimes you are just going to be playing Edison.
Yeah, even for the even for the people that are oh yeah, my Future Vision's card is housed in the extra deck, so I'm never playing just normal Edison. The thing is, you sometimes don't draw the pieces to summon it. A great example of this, I think, is frogs. People are saying, oh yeah, frogs are OP because if you summon 3 toad, it's fucking crazy. But it's like, yeah, you still need like substitute plus a body for that shit. Like, yeah, sometimes you're gonna be opening up like card destruction, dandelion, fishborg, drawing into substitute, but sometimes you're gonna be drawing like, I don't fucking know, man, pot of avarice, dupe frog, fishborg, like, I don't know, man. I don't play frogs. I don't know what their brick hand is.
And against like cards that, you know, like against decks that do use the cards in the extra deck, in my opinion, Ryo is such an incredible piece of removal. Like, I think Ryo is the biggest general future visions hate card in this format, because a lot of people, you know, play a lot of cards to search into the cards they added. You can't search under Ryo. A lot of people go into extra deck cards. I just negate whatever they summon.
No, the thing is, like, it's very funny because the one deck the one that like isn't affected by the one deck that isn't affected by the special summon effect is Dragoon, yeah, because it isn't an inherent summon, it's a fusion summon. But that deck is also the one that's the most hit by the Colossus effect, because they can't use King of the Swamp, they can't use Fusion Sage, and they can't use Summoner's Art.
Yeah. It's just like Ryo. I'm thinking, if I just changed my mind last second, I might just put the third. But I don't like how it fares against some other decks, and because it's not a Gemini, it's not a Gemini monster. Thank God it's not a Gemini monster. It doesn't turn on Spark, but like Ryo is, in my opinion, one of the best normal summons in the like format, and also, you know, it's a light monster. It still plays under Honest.
Yeah, no, like Ryo is also a deck that I was considering for my deck that we can no longer see because I timed out due to inactivity. But I ended up opting out of it because I really needed my 40 cards and I didn't really feel like I wanted to cut any traps. And I think, okay, can we talk about trap cards in this format? Because okay, this is gonna be a bit so I feel like a lot of people are running decks with absolutely no traps, and I think absolute insanity. So the only deck that I can maybe excuse this in is Fairies, because you are kind of constantly touting on your hand traps. You're basically playing 2015 and 2010.
But even in that, like, playing too many traps cuts off your, like, what's the fairy that draws a lot of cards?
Tethys. It does.
Yeah, Tethys. Like, it cuts off your Tethys, so, like, I can't really excuse playing, like, traps that aren't, like, specifically Legacy of Yatagarasu. And even that I'm not super sure about. But no, not playing traps in this format is absurd, because the best way to stop you, like, a lot of people, like, okay, not a lot of people are playing playmakers. People are playing payoffs, because payoffs in Edison, people don't have the tools to deal with. Like, a card like Edison is really hard to deal with because this format.
A card like Edison?
What?
You said a card like Edison. A card like Dragoon.
Yeah, a card like Dragoon. Yeah, Edison doesn't have the tools to deal with Dragoon.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do is stop your opponent from getting to Dragoon, and this applies to a lot of other monsters as well. Like, the best thing that you can do is stopping your opponent from getting to the card they want, and Edison's trap lineup is really good.
Yeah.
Like, Compulse is at 3. Bottoms is at 2. We have Judgment, we have Torrential, we have Trap Dustfield. Trap Dustfield is so cool. Because, like, there's, like, a lot of games I don't even rip the Trap Dustfield immediately. I just wait for my opponent to search something. Like,
and it works.
Trap Dustfield, it's really good. Like, you can just, like, even, like, against Dragoon, if your opponent's, like, first play is activate Poly, you just activate Trap Dustfield and just, like, take a card off their hand.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, just, like, the traps in this format are really good. I think the only ones that are, like, maybe worth cutting is maybe Mirror Force, because it fares, like, bad against some. Like, you wouldn't cut it, you would side it. But yeah, no. Traps in this format, in my opinion, are really good. To the point, I had a version of this deck that instead of playing 3 Reincarnation, 3 Primate Dragon, it played 3 Magical Hats, 3 Rollback.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was a funny
but
fucking thing.
it's still, in my opinion, not a bad deck. Like ripping 2 cards with fucking Dacian is really cool. You actually use the on-field effect of rollback a lot. The problem with it is you just pay too much life points.
Yeah, the pay half-life
And
is incredibly hard to justify in Edison, especially with like certain decks also doing like some random chip damage. Because like, okay, you run this against frogs. Okay, you pay half of your life points twice to use both of rollback's effects now in 2k. To summon Unifrog and you're at a 2-turn clock, man.
No, aside from that, there's like also the fact that a lot of cards that people are playing are like repeatable big monsters, because big monsters after a bit are kind of just like hard to deal with in Edison, and you just like become too susceptible to like even your opponents, like, and not even like just any other cards, you become susceptible to your opponent summoning fucking Machina, the same fucking monster. You became too susceptible to just losing to a random ass fortress.
Yeah.
In machines, or like just, you know, barrel truck in like zombies, fucking anything, light sworns, like you just like lose to a JV. Like, yes, it gives you like a big tempo boost, but you just also sometimes just die.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Yeah. Though, gotta say, magical hats, the fact that we were able to justify using it even for a suboptimal deck, I think makes that rollback list fucking worth it.
Yeah, no, magical hats, like, you know, it's the only way to mill card. And it's a battle trick. It sometimes like saves your monsters. I still think there is like a Gear Town build somewhere like within this format that plays like magical hats, Dark Golem, Gear Town, like of ways to go into Ancient Fairy Dragon. Is Chicken Game legal in this format?
Chicken Game? No. A Chicken Game was a Future Visions target for some Exodia players.
That's dog shit. But yeah, that's basically the explanation for my deck. I hope to, you know, at least be able to do something in this like tournament. But if I don't, I'm still really happy with the like deck that I came up with. If I didn't play this deck, the deck I would play is most likely Fairies. I think Fairies is just really good in the format.
I guess I never said my hopes. I don't know. I really hope that I get to just, first of all, surprise someone with Pyramid Turtle into Bale. I feel like at this point it's mostly common knowledge, but in playtesting, a lot of people would just run into Pyramid Turtle, like go into Bale, and it's like, well, here's the guy.
I'm just like, you can't do that. That's disgusting.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like my biggest hopes for the deck is that I just don't accidentally fumble to some matchups that I just really didn't consider. I feel like it's kind of a given, because the way that the format is currently, a lot of matchups are probably just going to be, okay, the opponent is bringing something you couldn't have wildly imagined, so you just kind of got to deal with it.
Yeah, I think like our decks are a bit too optimized in that like a lot of people that we saw are mostly playing just like stuff that I would explain as, you know, rogue matchups. And right now the format, this being the first tournament with this rule set, is extremely varied.
Yeah.
And I don't think like a lot of people are hiding their decks. We are hiding our decks.
Yeah.
And bro, I think like after the in my opinion, after the first format with this deck, are like the decks that me and Liz are playing might actually become better as the format gets more streamlined.
Yeah.
Like this, like right now, this format is the Wild West, and this is why I do think that the format not having right now a top cut is actually a miss, because there is a chance that you win without facing up against the best deck of the format.
Yeah.
But I am really excited to see what the top cut what the winning decks, what the representation looks like. I am really excited to see what the next tournament with this rule set looks like, and I'm so happy mine has been banned. Thank you, Skarlon.
Yeah,
I did not
thank you, Skarlon, for banning mine. God, I also would like, if we have time on another day, for us to talk about other decks we were considering to bring. Just because I think that would be really interesting. Like, I'm still sort of second guessing myself for not playing this list, but sadly a lot of decks do just kind of need back row to be outed, and it's another reason why I think people that aren't running back row are fucking insane, because back row is still the best removal in this. If you're like, a lot of people are just going into the format, and if the opponent summons Krisha, they scoop it up. A lot of people are going into this, if their opponent normal summons Fossil Dyna, they have to scoop it up. Frog loses to Fossil Dyna. Like, Assault Mode loses to Fossil Dyna unless they draw one of their 1900 normal summons. Like, so many decks are currently susceptible to just normal summon Fossil Dyna, special summon Krisha, tribute summon Vanity's Fiend, and I feel like these decks are never gonna make it into the top cut, because people are considering those matchups, and people are considering just, oh wait, if I can get any free body on board before my normal summon, I can normal summon Vanity's Fiend and call it a day. Which is why, like, also Linkuriboh Monarch is gonna be the rogue killer for sure, because like it's a deck that first of all counters itself, because Vanity's Fiend stops Linkuriboh from being summoned. But also it's a deck that manages to both run insanely powerful bodies that are very malleable to what the opponent is playing, and also it can run a lot of back row specifically tuned to what the matchup might want.
In my opinion, the best deck in this format is absolutely Ava Fairies. I think Ava Fairies is a deck that just like Christia is a really big asshole. But like even like beyond that, like it plays in a way where Edison decks are not it has 3 monster negate hand traps, 3 spell negate hand traps, and they negate and destroy. And that's like such a big power swing. That's why like it's one of the biggest considerations when I was playing my deck. Is like being also able to like out Christia, which is why I play back row. And even then, I'm still not sure how well I'm gonna do against it. Thank God, fucking Neos Alius is a light monster, because it means Imperial Dragon is an insanely good out to it. But like, if you ask me, the best deck in the format is Fairies.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree, and it's mostly because the deck has simultaneously the ability to play really low to the ground with Alchemist and the Battle Floaters, while also being able to have possibly the highest ceiling for a turn, with Tethys effectively drawing your entire deck, getting every single negate you can imagine into the hand.
Yeah, and it plays honest.
And it plays honest. It's able to out effectively anything. The biggest weakness with it is that sometimes you can't just draw unplayable. Sometimes the hand that you get is just Tethys, a Herald, no availability for like Valhalla, and like some Battle Floaters, and your opponent just has a way to non-battle out your guys.
Yeah.
And like, that's just the reality of it. The deck is fragile, but not extremely, in that it can still use Heralds even as a turn 0 interruption, which is, aside from DD Crow, the only deck in the format that can do it. And it can set up a huge like swing in tempo if it ever manages to stick a Tethys on board or a Krisha on board, which also the fact that it has 2 different effectively win buttons is kind of crazy in the format.
Yeah. If there's a deck to win this and the deck to like be most represented in Top Cut, it's this.
Yeah,
It's just fairies.
it's
Let me actually
fairies.
like send you my fairy list, so like
Yeah.
we have it on stream as well.
I have like somewhat of a fairy list. It's not ideal. It has no side deck even, but this was like an idea of a fairy list. It's not a good one, but still, this could make it into like top 8. But this was what Poyoraz got after we kind of messed around with it more. And
I'm not going to go over every decision in this deck, but I think this, like something like this is also not optimized.
Yeah.
I still think like I could play with my herald ratios, but I think this is the best deck in the format.
Yeah.
Why am I not playing it?
It's boring.
No, aside from being boring, I don't like some parts of it. Like I think this deck specifically, it plays badly into Dragoon.
Yeah.
Even though you have creature swap.
Even though you have creature swap, even though you have Herald of Green Light. Yeah. And Herald of Orange Light, and Honest, and Christian, and Eclipse on the side. And
all I have to...
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about the format. I am really excited to play this.
Yeah, no, same. I think that's the best thing for us to say here. We're really excited to play this. I am looking forward. Like, of course, we both said what we want, like, how we want to perform, but at the end of the day, we're both just looking forward to summoning monsters in this, to seeing what people brought, to seeing if we were completely fucking wrong on what to expect. Like, we realistically know what 10% of the tournament is bringing, yeah?
But we know 10% of what the tournament is bringing. Like, someone's gonna find, like, I don't know, a way to, like, make, like, Tri-Brigade work in this somehow.
No, I mean, we found a way to make Tri-Brigade work. Fucking Shureg! But no, like, I feel like people are going to be showing up with some things that are going to be completely unexpected. But okay, okay. That's enough for me, for us. See you in the tournament! Yippee!